The biggest lie you might believe right now, as an expert, an entrepreneur, or a creator who wants a book deal, is that there's some magic solution you don't know about yet. This is the result of a gate-kept industry and a lot of people making money off the quote-unquote mystery of traditional publishing. The version of this I see most often are retreats that promise you exclusive access, or entrepreneurs who have become authors promising to give you the secret to their success. But y'all, this is just good marketing. Because you are listening to this podcast, I have good news for you. There's actually no secrets that you have to pay for. That's because I'm sharing everything you need to know without charging you a dime. You don't have to pay thousands of dollars for access because you've got it. There are more than 30 episodes of this very podcast, and if you want more, you can sign up for my email newsletter where I dive deeper every Monday. The link is in the show notes, and spoiler alert, that newsletter also free. I've been faculty at those retreats. I've been on stage at writers' conferences. And in a lot of ways, I already know what those folks are going to say when you pay to get access. That's why I'm busting the doors open with this podcast, with all of my free content on Instagram, on my email list, everywhere, because I want every expert entrepreneur and creator to know how to get a book deal. So you don't have to pay thousands of dollars to learn, because you can learn here. So I'm going to save you time and money right now by breaking down this lie that people believe. There is no magic solution. There is no one right way. Someone else's way to success is not your way to success. There's not even a set number of followers that will get you a book deal. Instead, what you and every other expert, entrepreneur, creative, and author who wants a book deal, what you all need to succeed is both nebulous and specific. So we're going to dive into that on this episode, and I hope it helps you stop wasting time waiting or looking for a magic solution that will uncover every mountain or challenge in your path and make getting a book deal easy and for sure, because that's not real. So let's start with the specific things you need to get a book deal. Because in many ways, it's easier to tell you those things because there are some certain things. And the certain things then inform the nebulous weird things, the speculative things, the things we can never guarantee. Even from my perspective, sitting in this chair, having 8 years of experience in editorial at 2 major houses and 13 years of being a collaborator. So let's talk about that, specific and nebulous. So for experts, for entrepreneurs, for creators who want a book deal, what you need is always going to be the 3 Ps. So let's dive into that. First P, potential. A solid idea that works and is supported by evidence outside of you as the author saying it works. So it needs to be an idea that applies to a lot of people and works for a lot of people. That's potential. Second is a way to sell the book. This is your author platform, the second P, platform. And lastly, the third P, proposal. You can hire someone to help you with a book proposal, and you absolutely should, because it is the make or break document that either gets you a book deal or gets you rejected. And you only have to do it once if you're a successful author. So hire that shit out. You can hire me, you can hire someone else, but hire that shit. It's honestly that simple. If you've been following me for a minute, you know my framework. Potential, platform, proposal. But now we can spend some time on the more nebulous part. So let's say that you've done the work I've mentioned so far, right? You've got potential because you've proven your idea at scale and have unique intellectual property like frameworks, trademarks, research, testimonials of the Yang, all those things. You've also got an author platform, meaning that you have an engaged audience with a proven and effective way to market, promote, and sell your services or your products. That will also be effective ways to market, promote, and sell your book to your direct audience and target readership. Those may be the same people, they may be not. And last, you've hired somebody, maybe me, maybe my team, right? Hopefully, you've got a well-written proposal. That's well done, that's up to industry standards, and you are ready to send it down the traditional path, which means sending it to a literary agent, sending it to an editor. You're not fucking around. You're not saying, oh, let me send it to this agent I know. or let me write it and see what I'm doing. No, you're going to take it professionally, you're going to take it seriously, and you're doing it. Okay? So we have potential, we have platform, we have proposal. We've done the 3 Ps, right? So now we have to get a literary agent. And often with my clients, that can be the hardest thing because literary agents work on spec. They have to believe in a project. They have to understand. They have to think it's going to sell. Otherwise, they won't get paid. They'll be wasting their time. They'll literally make $0 on that project, right? And because they work on commission, because they work on spec, they are picky as hell. So we have to get a literary agent. After that, you have to get an editor interested. So the literary agents are who send proposals and manuscripts to editors. In our case, proposals for our how-to entrepreneurs, experts, and creators. So the editor has to be interested. You have to win that singular person over. Then the editor has to get their colleagues on board. So they go to a meeting with 5, 10, 20 people sometimes who are in editorial, but also in publicity and marketing and the actual publisher who's a person. It's a role, not just a thing. And they have to get all those people on board and say, yes, we want to publish this book. And in addition, when the editor goes back to their desk with their colleagues on board, they have to make a profit and loss statement for your individual book and the level of advance they expect to pay or want to pay to work. And to be clear, all of those steps, getting a literary agent, getting an editor, making the PL work, getting approval at editorial board, that's all out of your control. And it's all out of mine. As a collaborator, I'm going to give it my best shot. I'm going to try to literary agent proof it, editor proof it, ed board proof it, make the P&L work, make all these arguments to support a yes at every single stage of that journey. But that's out of my control, and it's certainly out of your control as an author. But what is in your control completely is what you choose to do as an entrepreneur, as an expert who wants a book deal. So you could choose to pay thousands of dollars to attend some retreat and get the same information. You could rush to self-publish and then wonder why no one is interested in you as an author because you didn't promote and sell your self-published books, or you published a bunch of junk and now we can't remove that from the internet. You could keep looking for magic solutions and right ways, or you could find the right way for you. And what I have seen is that requires slowing the fuck down and taking the time you need to execute each part of the 3P framework, meaning that you take the time, really take the time to develop and prove out intellectual property. What that means is, you develop a new way to look at a common concept. You test your ideas with real people, and you do all of that before writing a word of your book or your proposal. Second, once you've proven out your intellectual property, your shit works, right? Your frameworks, your methodology works. You've got something. That's time to hit the gas and build an audience and a business around that intellectual property. And when you do that, guess what? You're going to get real comfortable at marketing, promotion, and selling. If you go back to the first podcast, you will hear me do all sorts of shit that I'm not doing today, right? I'm becoming more and more myself with every podcast. That happens. Get in the reps. Do the reps of marketing, promotion, and selling. Build that audience. Get past that, 500 followers, 1,000 followers, 5,000 followers, 10,000 followers, 25,000 followers. Get past those income goals. That's 6 figures, that's 7 figures, whatever you want, right? Build that audience, build that business, build that platform. And then when you've got that intellectual property and an audience, hire help. Get help with your book proposal rather than trying to do it yourself. When you do that, I've seen it. With every single client I've ever worked with successfully, you create your own magic. You don't need some magic solution from external, from outside, because you're doing it inside. And that magic, whether it's universal law or just psychology or energy or whatever, it makes the speculative aspects of publishing less speculative because you're matching what literary agents and publishers and the entire industry wants. And ultimately what readers want, which is an author with potential, an author with a platform that can sell the book and get it out there, and a great proposal that explains all of it. In this episode, I've given you the guidance needed to understand your path to being published. However, if you're struggling, if you feel stuck, if you have a million questions, That's really common. And when you're in that situation, a custom strategy may be needed for you to reach your business goals and keep up momentum on your future book deal. So if that is you, please, please, please check out the show notes, because you can book a one-on-one paid consultation with me where we can talk about your situation. We can talk about where you're at, where you want to go, how to get there, whether traditional publishing is right for you, whether you're wasting your time going after a book deal, or whether you're right where you're supposed to be, right? Authors who have booked these calls in the past have earned more than $400,000 in book deals, and honestly have a higher rate of success than people who don't. So the link is in the show notes. Check that out if it calls to you. And if not, as I said before, you don't need to pay thousands of dollars for access to advice on how to get your book deal. There's so much free content for you. You can also send me a voicemail as well. So that is also in the show notes. So that's all available to you. But the number one thing I want you to know, and the number one thing that you need to recognize as a straight up lie, is that there's some magic solution out there that you haven't found yet. Because babe, the magic is you. And until next time, cheers to your success. Thanks for tuning into the Kind of Big Book Deal podcast. Want to see where you're at on your book journey? Check out my free quiz at meghanstevenson.com/quiz. That's MEGHANSTEVENSON.com/quiz. See you next time.